Hello, Internet. Welcome back to another edition of Eric's Corner with a word of the not so wise. I'm going to do a real quick movie review because, like always, it jives with my anti-government rhetoric, if you want to call it that. The movie Civil War. Olivia and I saw the previews for it and thought it would be a really good movie, but it was absolutely atrocious. It was supposed to be about if a civil war happened here in America, how would it look? And the previews, of course, they made it look all badass, like there was going to be some really cool, intricate plot and all this. It was basically about the freelance war film photographers trying to go a couple states over to get an interview with the president, and they explain nothing. Like, we don't know how it started. We don't know who it was against or for, or who was really in charge. I mean, of course, there was a president, and we don't really even know who it was against. I mean, were we the people against each other? Were we against the military? Was the military against us? A bunch of really cryptic things. And I I really feel like it was a very lame attempt by the producers of this movie to make a prediction if Trump gets elected. So basically, it starts out, we have these uh, journalists who are trying to go get an interview with a president who we see in the very beginning, who has, I can't really say has a Trump-esque demeanor or even a Biden like swagger to him. But it came out before Kamala, I think, before Kamala was got the torch passed to her. So I really feel like they made this movie to try to make a prediction, and no matter what, they're not wrong. They either Trump wins and things are fine, or Trump wins and things go this direction, they can say they called it, or Biden wins, who's no longer in, and things go good or bad, and then they called it. It was kind of a catch-all. No matter what happens, they can say, oh, well, this movie, oh, we totally called what happened, which was really weird. So these journalists are, taking pictures, like live action shots, like they're in the line with people that are breaching buildings, like you see the Army and the Marines, how they line up and they storm buildings. They're in the middle of that, taking pictures over their shoulder and so forth. And they're on their way to meet said president, whoever, and he's asking questions and kind of role playing the questions. And one of them was like, "Do you feel right about sending the military after the people or something?" And you think we're getting an explanation. They run across a couple guys who have like green and blue hair, who have military uniforms on, and they said, "Well, this guy's shooting at us. They're snipers. You got a spotter and a sniper and a gunman." And they're like, "Well, what's going on?" They're like, "Well, that guy in the building's trying to shoot us, so we're trying to kill him first." And they're like, "Well, who is he?" They turn to the younger girl and say, "Well, what are we doing?" She said, "Trying to kill that guy in the building." He's like, "Well, how?" See, she gets it. So we got no explanation there. We got people in military uniforms shooting at people in civilian attire with, some light body armor. We got civilians shooting at other civilians. We got military shooting at other military. Because when they finally get to the White House, they got who I assume is the actual military in Humvees and all that good shit, trying to get through a wall to get to said president. They breach the building. They go in. They storm the place. They kill the Secret Service. All this good stuff. I don't know, press secretary, a tan-skinned woman, who I assume is KJP, without the curly hair, is like, "Well, can you guarantee the president's safety?" And there's, "Oh, yeah, we got this. Bring him out." It's like, "Yeah, no, we're going to kill him." So they had to assassinate him. So none of this gets explained. I mean, if you saw the movie and it made sense to you, by all means, explain it to me, because me nor Olivia understood anything they were talking about. I mean, like I said, it was very ambiguous and very cryptic. I mean, I want to kind of try to defend it as being some kind of good movie, but I feel like they were trying to prophesize what's going to happen, and no matter what, they aren't wrong. Um, so to my doomsday prepping platform, where I've talked about a lot of scenarios. I don't think I've ever brought up a civil war. Like I said, this dude was asking this dude mock questions and said, "Hey, he's going to ask the president, do you still feel right about sending the military on the people?" Well, technically, that's not possible. Wait, listen. I'm going somewhere with this. Just hear me out. First of all, it defies your oath of enlistment. It is an unlawful order to go after the American people. Yes, the Army Guard will do crowd control and so on and so forth, but yes, Kent State, 1970. I wasn't there. I don't know what happened. It was 16 years before I was born. I mean, yes, there was a massacre, as they call it, but if you send human beings into a position with firearms to do crowd control, the crowd gets out of control. You sent human beings into a position with deadly weapons to defend themselves, and they defended themselves. Now, contagious gunfire is a thing. I'm not saying what did or did not happen. There's a very big difference between sending me as a person into a situation saying, hey, control the crowd just so things don't get out of hand. They do, and holy shit, I'm by myself and people are attacking me, throwing Molotov cocktails at me. I'm going to start shooting people. It's self-preservation. I'm not saying they're right. I'm saying I feel like that's what's happening. You can't really just turn the military on us, the people, because, people from all over the country go into the military. You're going to expect me to go and take out my buddy's parents, or my buddy's family, or my own family, round up my own people. It just simply cannot work out that way. I don't really see that as being a scenario. You say like, oh, we got to keep our AR-15s because the government has tanks. Well, that guy in the tank, well, guess what? Your wife lives next door to me, and I'm not saying I would harm her, but I do have a little bit, that's me personally, I do have a little bit of leverage there. It's like, well, either you get out of your goddamn tank and knock this shit off, or, I'm personally not going to harm her or the children, but I can at least, make the idle threat. And that guy in the tank's got to get out and take a piss at some point. So, wow, yeah, I actually think I summed that up and covered it pretty good. Go me. Yeah, I just really don't see that really being a scenario. If it was, again, like, we got airplanes. Well, we got tanks. Well, I can take out a tank. I can make a shape charge. I can blow the tracks off of a tank. I know how to do that. I'm not saying I can do it very effectively, but I know how to do it. You light that tank on fire, you'll suck all the oxygen out of it, and that guy inside's got to come out at some point. He's got to take a piss. It's just... So anyway, getting off topic. So this movie was completely ridiculous. Don't bother watching it. I felt like it was just completely too ambiguous, and they didn't explain anything. They didn't explain why the military is going against the people, or the people versus the people, or the military versus the military. But if I can give you guys a fair warning, should you happen to take out our front-running Republican candidate, I highly recommend, if you are military, if you are law enforcement, if you are private security, I highly suggest you turn and walk away, because it's a suicide mission. I admire law enforcement. I admire military. I admire private security. You guys are generally working a pretty noble profession, but oh boy, man, don't go on a suicide mission. You are not paid enough. Your life insurance is not good enough to take care of your wife and kids and family. You just walk away. I mean, if our front running candidate should be taken out, you know, the Capitol buildings will be stormed, and especially Democrat, every one of you will be exterminated. I am telling you, the military, the guard, all of you guys, private security, you don't have enough firearms to take everybody out. Look at the Cliven Bundy situation. You're going to have that times 10,000, and which is weird because military, law enforcement, we're not on the same side. You're caught in this no man's land between, doing your job and keeping the peace and order, which is great. But, when civil unrest happens, we're protected, we the people or whoever goes against this tyrannical government, we're protecting you also because you're under their thumb also. You're on their payroll, but you're under their thumb. So stand down. I've said before, I've said as a veteran, as a friend, I'm giving you fair warning. Stand down. Walk away. You do not want to do this, and stop taking pop shots at the Republican front-running candidate because this is not going to be good for you. I mean, even guys that I like, Trey Gowdy, Matt Gaetz, Dan Crenshaw, you're on some shaky ground, but Morgan Luttrell, to name a few. Hopefully you guys pull through, but if you don't, I mean, whatever, man. You got caught in the crossfire, or somebody didn't like you, and that, what, I can't defend you if somebody thinks you're corrupt and part of the problem. Goodbye. So anyway, Civil War, don't bother. I just told you how the whole thing worked. And oh yeah, another thing. So they showed up at this camp and they're talking to other journalists, and they're just like, oh yeah, blah, 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 the military's moving out. Like, didn't explain anything. They keep hitting these checkpoints where you think there's going to be some explanation, and there keeps being none. Like, oh, still no explanation. Great. What a great movie. It was atrocious. So anyway, that's it for this edition of Eric's Corner. Thank you for joining me, and smash that subscribe button, and be sure to share because I'm not getting a lot of shares here. You got to spread the word of my nonsense if you like what I have to say. Well, share it if you don't have it like what I have to say, because that's how the internet works. So anyway, have a good night.